I found this matchup on Quora the other day and thought, why not? I'll give answering it a go. As I did my research, I really began enjoying this pairing. It was so fun that I've been inspired to answer it again, this time in more detail here on YouTube. I'm not sure what inspired this question, but I am glad that it was asked. So here it is, my take on Ahsoka Tano, Knight Errant of the Jedi Order, versus Gamora, estranged assassin daughter of the Mad Titan. Obviously, the first step in creating a versus video is establishing which version of these characters are being pitted against each other. The original question didn't specify, so I'm going to go with each character's greatest feats. This will be Ahsoka and Gamora at their very best, but will only consider the skills, weapons, and tactics that they typically possess. That means Gamora won't have access to any of the Infinity Stones, and Ahsoka won't have access to the World Between Worlds. There will be spoilers for materials relating to these characters, but I would think you'd have realized that before clicking on this video, so let's get started. For this video, I will be comparing Ahsoka and Gamora in 4 broad categories, which are martial skill, strategy, superpowers, and equipment. I'm starting with equipment as this is the elephant in the room. Anyone matched against a Jedi or Sith has the obvious obstacle of a lightsaber to overcome. Ahsoka Tano, a particularly gifted lightsaber combatant, most commonly used 2 lightsabers, one full-sized and the other a shorter Shoto. As I'm using Ahsoka in her prime, she'll have her white sabers powered by kyber crystals taken from the 6th brother and purified. The hilts of her lightsabers are slightly curved, allowing for more control and precision. This design was sometimes implemented in historical sabers, allowing for strong and quick slashes. As it happens, Gamora may have a weapon comparable to the lightsaber in the Godslayer. This weapon is so named because it's strong enough to kill an Asgardian. Similarly to a lightsaber, the Godslayer is shown to be able to cut through just about anything. This weapon is also incredibly light, allowing Gamora to use it with great agility. The design of this sword varies widely, some versions even splitting into 2 separate blades, similar to Ahsoka's saber-shoto combo. Regarding cutting potential, I can't find anything definitive saying one weapon is better than the other. Yet both swords are easily capable of cutting through the minimal or non-existent armor Gamora and Ahsoka traditionally wear. Yes, I know, Gamora does have dwarven armor commissioned, but this is far from a usual part of her apparel. That means that the question becomes whether or not the Godslayer can block a lightsaber. If not only would Ahsoka be able to destroy Gamora's favorite weapon, but Gamora would have a false sense of security, trusting in a weapon that usually would protect her. As vital as this question is, answering it isn't so simple. I can't seem to find any source which says what the Godslayer is actually made from. Due to its ability to kill gods, many suspect it is made of Uru, just like Mjolnir. But how powerful is Uru when in the Star Wars universe? The Marvel universe has 3 super metals of note: adamantium, vibranium, and Uru. Yet even comparing these metals which share a universe is a nightmare. The purpose and capabilities of these metals has evolved so much over the years that it's a convoluted mess sorting through them. That being said, Uru is typically considered the strongest of these metals by most Marvel authorities and fans. But if you still think vibranium or adamantium are stronger, the simple fact that these metals can be compared is significant. If it's debatable, then that means their strengths are similar. Yet how do they compare to Beskar? Similar to these Marvel metals, Beskar can easily withstand the conventional weapons of the day. And, as we see in The Mandalorian, pure Beskar can withstand multiple blows from a lightsaber, though it does heat up considerably. If then, Uru is at least as strong as Beskar, it should be able to compete with a lightsaber. But what are Beskar's upper limits? In the first season of The Mandalorian, we see Din Djarin's armor badly damaged by the Mudhorn. Unfortunately, we don't know the quality of this armor, but I think it's safe to say that it's not pure. Still, it is strong enough to stop blaster fire, unlike other suits of Mandalorian armor. Now, the Mudhorn is basically the Elasmotherium, a real animal now extinct, which probably weighed just under 10,000 pounds. That is, twice as much as a rhino. Presuming it can run about 30 miles per hour, similar to a rhino, a Mudhorn could make a car crash look gentle. Yet comparing this to Captain America's shield, we begin to see a bit of a disparity. Gamora is shown to be able to chip Captain America's shield. I'm unaware of anyone weaker than her doing something comparable, so I think it's safe to say someone needs to be at least as strong as her. According to the Marvel Fandom Wiki, Gamora is able to lift 75 tons. That is, about 15 Mudhorns. Even so, Cap's shield is only slightly damaged when contrasted against Djarin's armor. Now, we don't know how much of her strength Gamora used, but Spider-Man, who can lift about 5 Mudhorns, can't chip Cap's shield. This is by no means a precise scale, but it is a clear indication that Captain America's proto-adamantium is superior to Din Djarin's Beskar in Season 1. How much stronger is proto-adamantium? There are too many unknowns to say, but it seems obvious that it is considerably stronger. Now, Djarin's armor, which withstands lightsabers, is an upgraded version of that armor. Plus, it is completely plausible that Mandalorian armor is especially resistant to energy-based attacks, such as lightsabers. Yet the massive disparity in how it handles blunt trauma makes me think even these factors can't make up the difference. Again, this is by no means proof, but I have to give an answer here, and I'm getting every indication that Cap's shield is superior to Mandalorian armor, and so would, therefore, be able to withstand a blow from a lightsaber. Then, as Uru can be compared to proto-adamantium, perhaps even being stronger, I must conclude that a weapon made of Uru would be able to safely block a lightsaber. Thus, for this video, I will be assuming Uru can fully withstand a lightsaber blow, and that the Godslayer is made of Uru. I don't like making assumptions, but as I said, I think these are very safe ones to make. So then, does this mean Ahsoka's lightsabers and Gamora's Godslayer are equivalent? Regarding offense, I'd say yes. In defense, a lightsaber can redirect lasers, so has a slight advantage. The curved hilts are also significant, but the Godslayer also features a guard. In my personal experience with swords, I feel incredibly exposed without a guard. Yet the control a curved hilt provides is so convenient and comfortable, I think I would choose that over a guard. All in all, these weapons are very close, but I have to give Ahsoka's lightsabers the edge. The remainder of Ahsoka and Gamora's arsenals aren't that noteworthy. Ahsoka has no other usual weapon or armor, and as for Gamora, her arsenal is expansive, but nothing half as remarkable as the Godslayer. She has a knife designed to kill the Magus, but we already discussed how the Godslayer sometimes splits into 2 blades. Whether dagger or split Godslayer, Gamora will be mirroring Ahsoka's dual-wielding style. Gamora has various firearms and explosives, but nothing out of the ordinary, and certainly nothing the war-hardened Ahsoka hasn't dealt with before. It is certainly possible for a skilled shooter to break through a master-level guard, and explosives are an excellent way to get past a Jedi's defenses.
Weapon selection is critical. If I see one more idiot attacking a Jedi with a blaster pistol, then I'll kill them myself. Select grenades, sonic screamers, cluster rockets, and plasma charges. Mines are also effective, since many Jedi will run to meet you in hand-to-hand combat. Silly Jedi.
Yet I can't say that these are major factors due to Ahsoka's familiarity with both on a large scale. She has proven herself perfectly able to defend herself from such weapons, so I doubt they will be her demise here. Furthering that point, Gamora's weapon of choice is the Godslayer, and her preferred range is melee. Though she could string explosives, gunfire, and sword fighting, harassing Ahsoka at range and wearing her down, I don't think that she would. We're not crafting the best strategy Gamora should use, but looking to the one she does use. Considering her preferences and how adept Ahsoka is at predicting traps and blocking projectiles, I'm sure Gamora will be inclined to close the distance rapidly. Regarding armor, Gamora has worn various types, including some made in Nidavellir by a dwarf. Even so, Gamora is usually depicted without any armor. For this fight, then, I will not count any armor. If you think I'm wrong to do this, I'll briefly explore that alternate versus video by saying Gamora suddenly has a huge advantage, one I don't believe Ahsoka could possibly overcome. Such armor could be on par with Beskar, or possibly even better. Although Gamora's armor has many gaps Ahsoka could exploit, it still drastically reduces the viable target area. Ahsoka would have to work substantially harder to land a killing blow, while Gamora could perform riskier actions, relying on her armor to tank Ahsoka's attacks. No, Gamora's armor wouldn't help against the Force, but Ahsoka's primary and most lethal weapon is her lightsabers, and they would be significantly less effective. But back to the original matchup where Gamora has no armor. Here, I'd say Ahsoka's arsenal is very comparable to Gamora's despite being much smaller. Their fight almost certainly is ending with a sword fight, if not starting that way. Firearms and explosives will certainly have a minimal impact. I'm still going to give Gamora the final victory for equipment, however, as a minimal impact may be just enough to win her the fight. Ahsoka and Gamora have similar and rather generic sets of superpowers. Gamora has super speed, strength, agility, reflexes, stamina, and durability, but none of these to any extreme degree. On Marvel.com, super abilities are rated on a scale of 1 to 7, with 7 being the highest. Gamora's strength and durability are 3, and her speed is 4. Thus, in the Marvel Universe, she's right around the middle of the pack in these categories. Gamora also has a healing factor, which Wolverine says is as good as his. Through Force augmentation, Ahsoka Tano also has super strength, speed, agility, and reflexes. Her stamina and durability are also good, but I'm unsure if they're superhuman. As a Togruta, Ahsoka has Montrals which allow her to sense moving objects via echolocation up to 82 feet away. This, coupled with her ability to sense the presence of others through the Force, and her precognition, make Gamora's mastery of stealth pretty useless. With the Force, Ahsoka also has Super Leap, Force Barrier, Telekinesis, and a small level of mind control and mind reading. To my knowledge, Ahsoka has never demonstrated any unique or rare Force abilities, but is certainly above the average Jedi with the powers she has. What is more, her array of abilities is certainly wider than Gamora's. The second hurdle anyone facing a Jedi or Sith must overcome is the Force, and Gamora doesn't have a proper answer for it. I don't think Gamora is weak-minded, although her time with the Phalanx may say otherwise, but Ahsoka doesn't really use the Jedi mind trick in combat situations, so I won't consider that ability in this fight. But what can Gamora do against telekinesis? She simply has to work through or around it. This will make Gamora work much harder than Ahsoka to get the killing blow. Gamora's healing factor is certainly an advantage Ahsoka has no counter for, but as Ahsoka's favorite weapon is a lightsaber, super healing won't be as big a factor as it could be. Lightsabers are so easily fatal that a successful strike from Ahsoka will likely end the fight before any form of healing can take place. Even non-fatal blows will seriously debilitate Gamora's fighting ability, allowing Ahsoka to win even if Gamora survives. But what about their shared power? Who's stronger, faster, etc.? In terms of moving from point A to point B, Ahsoka's nothing remarkable. Although the Force can give super speed, I'm not aware of Ahsoka ever displaying this ability. She's athletic, but not superhuman. On Marvel.com, non-super athletes are given a 2 out of 7 in speed, thus lower than Gamora's 4. I think then it's very safe to say Gamora is substantially faster. This type of speed, however, isn't very impactful in a one-on-one fight. True, Gamora could engage and disengage whenever she chose with that speed, but she's never going to catch Ahsoka off guard due to her precognition. What's more, Gamora isn't likely to run away for her own safety due to her resistance to backing down from a fight. So the uses of sprinting are very limited. Far more important is agility. Here, the contest isn't so one-sided. Both Ahsoka and Gamora are fast enough to casually dodge fire from squads of enemies. They're both able to casually banter away while in the midst of war zones, and they've both kept pace with fast opponents. Ahsoka was able to block and dodge the likes of Asajj Ventress, Maul, and General Grievous, while Gamora can keep up with Night Thrasher, Nebula, and Angela. I have to say Ahsoka seems faster to me, as Gamora was stabbed by Wolverine, someone not especially known for being fast. Certainly not as fast as a four-armed cyborg like General Grievous. Even though outmatched by Ventress and Grievous, Ahsoka was able to keep ahead of them long enough to escape or for reinforcements to arrive. What's more, Ahsoka did this as a teenager, while Gamora lost to Wolverine in her prime. With Ahsoka's precognition, Gamora is basically fighting Spider-Man. She'd have to be significantly faster than Ahsoka to catch her, because Ahsoka's spidey sense would always give her a head start. Since she's not faster, probably even slower, I have to give this to Ahsoka. This comparison also gives us insight into their strategies. When outmatched, Ahsoka was able to realize she was losing and escape. Gamora either doesn't realize or doesn't care. In addition to her loss to Wolverine, we see the same mentality when she fights Angela. Gamora stays in the battle, for better or for worse. She may refuse to back down from a losing fight, but Ahsoka won't. True, Gamora can run faster, but Ahsoka can use telekinesis to hold her or cause a distraction. So Ahsoka can break the distance with Gamora, while Gamora won't break the distance with Ahsoka. Regarding strength, I think it's clear that Gamora is stronger. As a teenager, Ahsoka is able to overpower full-grown Trandoshans, a species noted for their strength. But Gamora is able to knock Captain Marvel off her feet. That's right, Carol Danvers herself. Gamora has also matched other super-strong heroes, such as Angela. According to the Marvel fandom wiki, Gamora's strength has been increased by Thanos, Adam Warlock, the Black Vortex, and other factors to the point where her current power is unknown. It's easy to see there's no contest here. Ahsoka is unreasonably strong, but Gamora is impossibly strong. As for durability, we have another easy win for Gamora. As with speed, Ahsoka is shown to be impressive, but not superhuman. She did shrug off a couple hits from a blaster, but this pales into comparison to Gamora's feats of durability. Gamora has survived Iron Man's repulsor cannon, a photonic explosion from Captain Marvel, and falling to the ground through a planet's atmosphere as fast as a meteor. Adding to this her healing factor, how can Ahsoka hope to compare? True, Ahsoka was able to create a force barrier which could temporarily hold back Darth Sidious, but Gamora is clearly the hardier of the two. As I see it, Ahsoka's superior agility, precognition, and telekinesis make her nearly impossible to hit, while Gamora's durability and healing factor make getting hit hardly a concern. I simply can't see Ahsoka being able to throw Gamora hard enough with the Force to do any serious damage. She may be able to throw something heavy enough, but that's still doubtful. As for hand-to-hand, what do you think she'll actually be able to do? This limits Ahsoka's telekinesis to defensive and tactical application, holding Gamora in place, pushing her away, creating a distraction, or disarming her. These are very useful things, they're just not offensive. That means Ahsoka's only sure way of injuring and killing Gamora is her lightsaber, while all of Gamora's weapons and her own fists can injure and kill Ahsoka. It wouldn't take more than a single well-placed punch to take Ahsoka's head off. But there's that pesky business of catching her, something Ahsoka's very good at preventing. Despite everything, Ahsoka retains more versatility than Gamora due to the varied applications of the Force, and the advantages Gamora's powers bring her don't do much to stop Ahsoka's primary weapon, while the Force could most certainly aid in blocking the Godslayer. As such, I must give Ahsoka the edge for superpowers. As a Jedi, Ahsoka Tano was trained in martial arts from a very young age. Her preferred lightsaber form is Form 5, the Xian variant. This style is distinguished by powerful attacks and counter-strikes. We see her even able to push back more powerful duelists such as General Grievous. Yet Ahsoka is also notably agile in her fights, often implementing acrobatics into her swordplay. Ahsoka is skilled in Jar-Kai dual-blade fencing and often uses an Ataru Xian reverse grip. Now, in real life, reverse grips on swords are a bad idea, regardless of what animes may tell you. I really hate its popularity. It makes no sense, and really doesn't look cool in my opinion. It severely limits reach, mobility, and power. This way of holding a sword is detrimental to the user, making the weapon widely ineffective. Yet, we're not dealing with reality, we're dealing with the Star Wars universe. And in that universe, reverse grips and double-bladed lightsabers are good ideas instead of bad. I must therefore put my objections aside and say that in the given universe, Ahsoka's style demonstrates skill and versatility, allowing her to perform unorthodox cuts and blocks which may throw off her opponent. On occasion, Ahsoka implements Force powers into her lightsaber combat, yet she usually limits her Force abilities to augmenting her physical abilities. She quite commonly implements physical blows and acrobatic flips into her fighting style. Ahsoka is quite skilled, able to survive engagements with some of the deadliest Jedi of her day while a teenager. She even bested Maul when she was 17. As an adult, she could easily defeat 2 Inquisitors at once, and could briefly match Darth Vader, even getting a few good hits in. Gamora was also trained from a young age and mastered many martial arts. How many did she master? As it turns out, she mastered 83.4% of them. That's 83.4% of all martial arts in the galaxy. Now, I must address something that tends to float around in Versus videos. There seems to be an idea that if you know multiple martial arts, you're a better fighter than someone who only knows one. There's some truth in this, as different martial arts can open the practitioner's mind to new possibilities. However, a good martial artist needn't study multiple martial arts to do this. It's true that certain martial arts have strong points and weak points, but a good martial artist should be aware of these. She should train to avoid, diminish, and overcome all shortcomings in herself and in the form. That's what being a good martial artist means. Kung Fu practitioners don't have a universal advantage against Krav Maga practitioners, who don't have a universal advantage against kickboxers, and so on. If they do, then that means they are novices in the form, and Gamora and Ahsoka are clearly not novices. A related issue I have with this is that martial arts are rarely, if ever, hyper-specialized. That means they don't follow the rock, paper, scissors model, where one style counters another, which counters another. A good martial artist, regardless of her form, should be able to adjust to the situation. Of course, specific fighters still have strengths and weaknesses, but this is more a result of personal focus rather than the martial art they practice. For example, my fencing style is strong at close distances and with counterattacks, while being weak to strong and direct attacks. Yet this doesn't mean the school of fencing I follow has the same strengths and weaknesses. I know many who use my same fencing style, and yet have different strengths and weaknesses. It's far more personal than it is martial school. All that to say, I'm much more afraid to fight someone who is amazing in one martial art than someone who is okay in 3. That being said, what does it mean that Gamora has mastered 83.4% of all martial arts? Aside from being comedic in scope and precision, it means she's one of the best martial artists in the galaxy. In fact, Gamora is said to be one of the best in the Marvel Universe. As good as Ahsoka is, we can't say the same about her. For sure, she can and has put up a good fight against some of the best, such as Maul and Vader, but she's clearly not on the same level as Yoda, Windu, or Sidious. Though this isn't conclusive, Ahsoka not being the top of her field, while Gamora is the top of hers, is a strong indication that Gamora is a better fighter. This indication is then backed up by their feats. We see Gamora perform martial abilities beyond Ahsoka, such as being able to take down a foe with a single well-placed hit. Gamora is also a skilled acrobat, and also incorporates physical blows into her swordsmanship. Gamora could power through Ahsoka's blocks and hold an unbreakable defense of her own. This would force Ahsoka to subvert and redirect, things she's good at, but Gamora will certainly have an easier time plowing through rather than finessing around. One advantage Ahsoka has is that she can touch the Godslayer. Martial arts often involve pushing or grabbing an opponent's blade. Whether with a hand on the flat of the blade or with the Force, Ahsoka can redirect Gamora's attack. Gamora, however, can't replicate this considering no part of a lightsaber blade is safe to touch. In theory, Ahsoka could disarm Gamora at any time with the Force, and she'd be powerless to stop her. As the Godslayer is her favorite and most powerful weapon, doing this would be a huge advantage for Ahsoka. I, however, don't think Ahsoka would do this. Again, I'm not trying to craft the perfect strategy, having them do what they should do, but rather what they would do. Unfortunately for Ahsoka, I haven't seen any evidence pointing to her using such tactics. She's fought numerous non-Force users, and yet rarely, if ever, disarms them with the Force. As such, what could be a major advantage for Ahsoka will only be a minor one for this fight. Both these ladies happen to be stellar leaders as well as duelists. From the age of 14, Ahsoka Tano was a commander during the Clone Wars. Although she often acted as an aide to General Skywalker, Anakin entrusted her to lead her own missions from time to time. Possibly her greatest solo achievement was during the Siege of Mandalore, where she successfully aided Bo-Katan in ousting Maul. The mission was a complete success, routing all of Maul's supporters and capturing Maul himself. Similar to her master, Ahsoka preferred bold and even reckless strategies. Her high-risk, high-reward mentality almost always pays off. Even when it doesn't, this teenage commander is usually able to recover, adapt, or retreat as necessary, though she has had to be forcibly extracted by Obi-Wan and Anakin from time to time. As an adult, Ahsoka retired from command and lived in exile before eventually joining a rebellion against the Galactic Empire. I can't say specifically what her strategic contributions were, but as Fulcrum, she was an integral source of information. Her covert operation was solid enough to evade discovery, only coming to an end when she had a chance encounter with Darth Vader. Gamora similarly was raised with war, Thanos training her from an early age to kill the Magus. She eventually succeeded in this goal with the help of Adam Warlock and became his unofficial bodyguard. After that, Gamora has had various allegiances, including the Infinity Watch, the Phalanx, and of course, the Guardians of the Galaxy. Despite this, Gamora most frequently works in isolation. Even when within a team, she acts independently more often than not. Although she is credited as being one of the greatest strategists on and off the battlefield, I'd say she is more of a schemer than a general. She's good at bartering, manipulating, and undermining, all keeping in line with her persona as an assassin. I may be unaware of some significant strategic feats, but it seems obvious that Ahsoka has had more and at a younger age. In the same way, I think Ahsoka's covert operation pales in comparison to Gamora's lifetime of ruthless manipulation. But this fight isn't to find out who is the better general or spy, so how do these apply in a one-on-one? Gamora's superior knowledge as an assassin is sure to give her control of the fight in the beginning. She will do her research. She'll learn about Ahsoka before Ahsoka is even aware of her. Then she'll blackmail, threaten, or strong-arm her way to getting close to Ahsoka. Thus, this fight will almost certainly happen when and where Gamora wants. Now, of course, Ahsoka's precognition will prevent this from being a clean assassination, but this is still a major advantage for Gamora as she can select a time when Ahsoka is tired, unprepared, or even injured as the perfect time to strike. Then we come to tactics. Ahsoka demonstrates herself better at adjusting to the situation than Gamora. We see this in her fights against Grievous and Ventress. She knows when to withdraw. And we don't see this with Gamora, who plows ahead even when outmatched. Ahsoka has been without her lightsabers and even hidden her Force powers, always adjusting her approach to the needs of the moment. Gamora is much more in favor of fighting harder rather than smarter. To be fair, Ahsoka has done this as well in her first fight against Ventress and her second fight against Barriss. But one of these was when she was very young, and the other was when she was extremely desperate. Should things go bad, Ahsoka is more likely to fall back, regroup, and look for a better opportunity. Her ability to toss Gamora about with the Force allows her the time she needs to slip away. Gamora may choose how and where the fight starts, but Ahsoka is far more likely to choose how and where it ends. This is another hard one to call, but I'm going to give Gamora a slight edge here for two reasons. First, though Ahsoka is more strategically minded than Gamora, she's still more reactive than proactive. She's not like Maul, constantly moving to new terrain, nor is she like Barriss, using her surroundings as weapons. She's agile and able to easily slip away, but these seem more like stall tactics than anything else. Second, though Gamora's advantage will shrink the longer the fight goes on, a strong opening is likely all Gamora will need. Remember, all she needs is one clean hit with any of her weapons to end this fight. Alright, I rambled enough. Let's get some results. I assigned offensive and defensive values to all of Ahsoka's and Gamora's weapons, powers, and skills. Like the show Deadliest Warrior, I've translated those values into kills, resulting in a total of 1,000 battles. Whomever has the highest number of kills is the ultimate winner. We'll start off with the most kills and work our way down. Ahsoka's lightsaber and Shoto start us off with an impressive 428 kills. They are, of course, impressively lethal on their own, and only made more so by Ahsoka's masterful use of them. As her primary weapons, if Ahsoka does get a killing blow, it will almost certainly be with a lightsaber. It should be no surprise that the Godslayer has the second most kills with 382. The reason this weapon performed worse than the lightsabers is simply because more things can block the Godslayer than the lightsaber. The Force, of course, can repel it. Ahsoka's greater agility, precognition, and the tangibility of the blade all make it easier to avoid. So it's just as lethal as the lightsaber, but in this duel it's less likely to hit. Gamora appears again with her hand-to-hand combat gaining 102 kills. This is a huge step down from the Godslayer, but I don't think that should be a surprise. With Gamora's strength, her fists would be pretty comparable in terms of lethality, but they have a shorter range than a sword, are smaller, and are easier to dodge. Plus, while the Godslayer could survive being blocked by a lightsaber, I don't think Gamora's fist would. Next, I've given the rest of Gamora's arsenal 62 kills. Sorry for lumping all of these together. I realize it's a bit clumsy. I did this for symmetry. 3 weapons for Ahsoka, 3 for Gamora. But also because all her vast array of weapons serve in the same purpose of tertiary weapons. These are weapons she'll throw around, but in a serious fight, she'll ditch them for the Godslayer in a heartbeat. She has a few surprise weapons which may give Ahsoka a hard time, but most of her arsenal is stuff Ahsoka has defended against in the past. Any lasers can be redirected back at Gamora, making the weapon dangerous for the user as well as the target. And as Ahsoka was able to hold off Sidious's attack, I think it probable that she could do the same with a grenade. There's another step down to Ahsoka's Force abilities, scoring only 23 kills. This should in no way indicate that the Force was useless in this fight. To the contrary, I'd say it was the most useful, but its greatest use was in defense. Basically, the Force made Gamora's weapons less likely to kill, and Ahsoka's weapons more likely to kill. For it to kill on its own, considering how durable Gamora is unlikely. Then, last and certainly least, hand-to-hand combat scored Ahsoka 3 kills. As pitiful as this seems, it actually surprised me considering how much stronger Gamora is than Ahsoka. The only reason my simulation credited any kills here is that, with the Force, Ahsoka may be able to kick Gamora into deadly terrain or something. It's not likely, but it's not impossible. If you've done the math, you already know who won, but I'll announce it anyway. I declare Gamora the victor, winning 546 times out of 1,000. That is, of course, just below 55% of the time. I want to stress how close that is. This matchup could easily go either way. Ahsoka Tano and Gamora are comparable in so many ways. Skilled strategists, cunningly covert, masterful duelists, superb acrobats, and much more. Ahsoka's agility and strong connection with the Force make her near impossible to catch, while Gamora's strength and durability make her a bulldozer few can withstand. But if I had to choose, I'd put my money on Gamora, one of the galaxy's greatest assassins. But what are your thoughts? Did I miss something vital which would tip the scales one way or another? Let me know what you think. But for now, that's all from me. Thanks for watching.